Chapter 5. A Political Act. 4 days later, he saw the girl with dark hair again. He was walking into the toilets as a minister of truth, and she was coming towards him. She had hurt her hand. She had probably hurt one of the storm writing machines. It was a common accident in that department. The girl was about 4 meters away when she fell forwards. As she fell, she hit her hand again and cried out in pain. Winston stopped. The girl got to her knees. Her face had turned a milky yellow color, making her mouth look redder than ever. She looked at Winston, and her face seemed to show more fear than pain. Winston felt a strange mix of emotion. In front of him was an enemy who was trying to kill him. In front of him also was a human being in pain and perhaps with a broken bone. Already he had started to help her. He felt that her pain was in some strange way his own. "You're hurt?" he said. "It's nothing. My arm. It'll be all right in a second." He helped her up. "It's nothing," she repeated. "Thanks, comrade." She walked away quickly. Winston was standing in front of a telescreen, so he did not show any surprise on his face, although it was difficult not to. As he helped her up, she had put something in his hand. It was a piece of paper. He had it carefully in his hand in the toilet, but did not try to read it. You could be certain the telescreen would be watching in the toilets. Back in his office, he put the piece of paper down on his desk among the other papers. A few minutes later, he pulled it towards him with the new job he had to do. On it, in large letters, was written, "I love you." For the rest of morning, it was very difficult to work. At lunchtime in canteen, the full parsons, still smelling of sweat, did not stop talking to him about all the work he was doing for Hedvig. He saw the girl at the other end of the canteen, at a table with 2 other girls, but she did not look in his direction. In the afternoon he looked at the words "I love you" again, and life seemed better. He believed her. He did not think she was in the thought police, not now. He wanted to see her again. How could he arrange a meeting? It was a week before he saw her again in the canteen. He sat at a table and at that moment saw Ampleforth, the dairyman man with hairy ears who rewrote the poems. Ampleforth was walking around his lounge looking for a place to sit down. He would certainly sit with Winston if he saw him. Winston had about a minute to arrange something with the girl. He started to eat the water soup they had been given for lunch. "What time do you leave work?" he said to the girl. 18:30. "Where can we meet?" Victor Square, near the picture of Big Brother. "It's full of telescreens." "It doesn't matter if there is a crowd. But don't come near me until you see me among a people. Don't look at me. Just follow me." "What time?" 19 hours. "All right." Ampleforth did not see Winston and sat down at another table. Winston and the girl did not speak again, and they did not look at each other. The girl finished her lunch quickly and left, but Winston stayed to smoke a cigarette. He arrived at Victoria Square early. Big Brother's picture looked up at the skies where he had beaten the Eurasian airplanes or East Asian airplanes. It had been a few years ago, in Great Air War. 5 minutes after the time they had arranged, Winston saw the girl near Big Brother's picture, but it was not safe to move closer to her yet. There were not enough people around. But suddenly some Eurasian prisoners were brought out, and everyone started running across the park. Winston ran too, next to the girl lost in the crowd. "Can you hear me?" she said. "Yes." "Are you working this Sunday afternoon?" "No." "Then listen carefully. Go." Like a general in the army, she told him exactly where to go. A half-hour railway journey turned left outside the station, 2 kilometers along the road, a gate, a path across the field. She seemed to have a map inside her head. "Can you remember all that?" she said, finally. "Yes, what time?" "About 15 hours. You may have to wait. I'll get there by another way." She moved away from him, but at the last moment, while the crowd was still around them, her hand touched his, though they did not dare look at each other. Winston opened the gate and walked along the path across the field. The air was soft and birds sang. You were not safer in the country than in London. There were no telescreens, of course, but there were microphones, and the thought police often waited at the railway station. But the girl was clearly experienced, which made him feel braver. He had no watch, but it could be 15 hours, so he started to pick up flowers. A hand fell lightly on his shoulder. He looked up. It was the girl, shaking her head as a warning to stay silent. She walked ahead of him, and it was clear to Winston that she had been this way before. He followed, carrying his flowers, feeling that he was not good enough for her. They were in an open space of grass between tall trees when the girl stopped and turned. "Here we are," she said. Winston stood quite close to her, but did not dare move nearer. "I didn't want to say anything on the path, because there might be microphones there, but we are all right here." He still was not brave enough to go near her. "We're all right here?" he stupidly repeated. "Yes, look at the trees. They were small and thin. There is nothing big enough to hide a microphone in. And I've been here before," he said. "You're 10 or 15 years younger than I am. What did you find attractive in a man like me?" "It was something in your face. I thought to take a chance. I am good at finding people who don't belong. When I first saw you, I knew you were against them." When Julia said them, she meant the party, especially in an inner party. She spoke about them with real hate, using bad words. Winston did not dislike that. It was part of her personal war against the party. He got closer to her. His heart raced. He pressed her down on the grass. This time there was no difficulty. Their love had beaten the party. It was a political act. Winston looked round the little room above the Mr. Charrington's shop. As he had thought, Mr. Charrington had been happy to rent it to him. He did not even mind that Winston wanted the room to meet his lover. Everyone, he said, wanted a place where they could be alone and private occasionally. They had taken the room because during the month of May they had made love only one more time. It was dangerous to meet anywhere twice. Then they had to see each other in the street, in a different place every evening, and never for more than half an hour at a time. The idea of having their own hiding place near home had been exciting for both of them. They were fools, Winston thought again. It was possible to come here for more than a few weeks without being caught. But he needed her, and he felt he deserved her. At that moment he heard on the stairs outside, and then she ran into the room. She was carrying a bag. She went down on her knees, took bags of food from the bag and put them on the floor. She had real sugar, real bread, and real jam. All the good food that nobody had seen for years. And then, "This is the only one I'm proud of. I had to put paper around it because—" But she did not have to tell him why she had paper around it. The smell was already filling the room. "It's coffee," he said softly. "Real coffee." "It's inner parter coffee. There's a whole killer here," she said. "How did you get it?" "There's nothing those inner party peaks don't have. But of course, waiters and servants still thinks. And look, I got a little packet of tea as well. Winston opened the pack. It's real tea, not fruit leaves, said. He took her hand in his arms. After they made love, they fell asleep. Winston got out of bed. It was dark. The room was a world, a past world, and they were the last two people from it who were still living.